is it that keeps our bones and our body safe? That's where joints come in. Joints are the connecting points between your bones. There are three main categories of joints, which you could divide based on its structure or its range of motion. Based upon its structure, there are fibrous, cartilaginous, and synovial joints, and based upon its range of motion, there are synarthrosis, amphiarthrosis, and diarthrosis. Fibrous and synarthrosis, which can be found in the skulls, such as your sutures, are immovable joints that are connected by dense fibrous connective tissue. Cartilaginous or amphiarthrosis are slightly movable joints, and these are held together by cartilage. These can be found such as the joints between your ribs and spine. Synovial and diarthrosis joints, these are the ones that you're probably most familiar with, such as your knee joint or your elbow joint, and these are ones that are freely movable. Let's take a closer look at synovial joints. Starting off with the articular capsule, which wraps around the entirety of the joint, consists of two layers, the fibrous membrane and the synovial membrane. The fibrous membrane consists of white fibrous tissue responsible for holding together bones and supporting the underlying synovial membrane. The synovial membrane is especially important because of its role of directing nutrient exchange and secreting and absorbing synovial fluid. This brings us to the next part, the synovial fluid, a thick, viscous liquid that fills the cavities between joints. It has three primary functions: minimizing friction, shock absorption, and nutrient distribution. A thin layer of hyaline cartilage at the ends of the bones, called articular cartilage, also acts as an extra protection against friction. Now let's talk about the different ways joints can move using the flexing technique. So the first two movements are flexion and extension. So when we start in that plie, we see flexion going on, which is anytime there's a decrease in angle between the bones. So here, there's flexion at the knee and at the hip. And then when we go up to releve, there's an extension at the knee. Now we increase the angle between the bones. And whenever we're talking about the foot or the ankle, we use different terms for them. So plantar flexion, which is pointing our foot. So that'd be plantar flexion, and the dorsiflexion is flexing it. For our arms, so specifically for our forearms, when we pronate them in, this is called pronation, and then moving them away from the body is supination. And we also have circular movements. So if you remember from the flex turn, we whipped our arm and our leg to the side, right? So this is called circumduction. So you have a fixed point, and then the other point is drawing a circle. So it's only drawing a semicircle, but it's the same idea. And then we also have rotational movement, which is movement that centers around an axis. So let's take our head, for example. If we move it side to side, so in our turns we spot our head, then that is called rotational movement. That's it for this video. I hope you learned something new about joints.